welcome to Play-by-Play-Sports. Today is May the 4th, and I was wrong. Let's jump right into it. Just going to kick it off with me being wrong. I did not think that the Magic were going to do this well in the playoffs. I did not think they would at least make it this far against the Cavs. I was wrong. I apologize, Magic fans. I was wrong. I feel like other people were wrong too, but I'm just going to admit that I was wrong in saying that the Magic were going to lose in like 5. They have a game 7 tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the road against the Cavs to move on to play the Celtics. I mean, I don't know if they want to move on and play the Celtics. They probably do. But personally, I wouldn't want to have to play them if it was like the Knicks or the Pacers. Maybe it'd be a little easier to the finals, but here they are, going to game 7, playing against Cavaliers, and hopefully moving on to the next round to play the Celtics. They played really well at home last night. I kind of watched a little bit of it, but they did come back right in the fourth quarter. They came back that whole fourth quarter to win the game, which was huge. Obviously, that helped them move on to game 7, but hopefully they don't get to that point tomorrow to where they have to come back in the fourth quarter. Maybe they can just pull away from the Cavs. But yeah, I was wrong about that one. They're gonna play in game 7. They're still a very young team. They've built this whole entire team through the draft, which not a lot of teams do. I guess the Thunder have kind of done it. The Nuggets, they built, those teams have built through the draft, but they also use free agency to bring guys in. But it seems like the whole Magic team came through the draft. So, not a ton of playoff experience there for that team, but they forced a game 7, so shout out to them for forcing a game 7. I will definitely be watching that one. But yeah, sticking with the playoffs here, I'll just talk about the Western Conference here. Semifinals, we got Thunder versus the Mavericks. Thunder took care of business against the Pelicans, and the Mavs took care of business against the Clippers. Upset there. They upsetted the 4 seed Clippers, but they had injuries. Harden was out and Kawhi was out, so I'm sure Clippers fans are going to say that if they would have been healthy, they would have probably beat the Mavericks, which I could have seen. But you guys can drop your thoughts down in the comments what the Clippers are going to do. I know they extended Kawhi. There's talks that Paul George is going to go to the 76ers to help Joel Embiid out. But yeah, the Suns, they're bad. They got dismantled against the T-Wolves. That whole situation, I posted on my Twitter, TikTok, of people explaining the whole situation of the Suns franchise. They just need to tear that whole thing down, trade their big 3 away, try to get as many picks as they can, and try to rebuild in the draft. If they don't trade those guys away, there's no way they're going to be able to build for the future, because they literally don't have any draft picks until like 2030 something, which is incredible to think about. But I would hate to be a Suns fan, because you got really nothing to look forward to. Your new owner kind of just ruined the whole entire franchise by trying to win now and thinking that getting these big three that they can win. Obviously, they haven't done that. So yeah, that's that. The Timberwolves and the Nuggets play. Uh, it's gonna be a really good series. I think it's gonna go full 7 games. I still think that the Nuggets are gonna move on to the Western Conference Finals, and I also think that this one. I know I picked the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, but they're still a very young team, and the Mavericks looked really good against the Clippers. I think Kyrie and Luka are one of the best duos in the NBA. I think they're going to move past the Thunder and meet the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, and then the Nuggets are going to move on to the NBA Finals. But you can drop your thoughts down in the comments on what you think is going to happen in the West. Yeah, that's just my thoughts. Moving on to the East. Again, we're waiting on Game 7 of the Cavs and the Magic to see who will play the Celtics in the Eastern Conference semifinals. But on the other side, you have the Knicks and the Pacers. Unfortunately for the Bucks, Giannis wasn't healthy. I think if Giannis was healthy, that series would have gone a whole different way. It's kind of hard for Dame to do it by himself, but yeah, the Pacers moved on, and then the Knicks moved on. I said the 76ers were going to win, but they didn't. Kind of disappointed about that one. I was wrong about that too. Yeah, you got the Knicks and Pacers. Truly, I think that one's probably going to go 7. Honestly, I could see it going either way. I really don't know. Um, I'll say the Pacers with a huge upset. You guys drop your thoughts down in the comments what you think is going to happen in that series. Honestly, I think with the Celtics, either way, they'll probably win in like 6. So I have the Celtics and the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then again, I have the Celtics playing the Nuggets in the NBA Finals. And then I have the Nuggets winning back-to-back. So please drop your thoughts down in the comments on what you think is going to happen here with the rest of the way of the NBA playoffs. That's just my thoughts on that. Moving on to the NHL playoffs. Last night was an incredible game of Dallas versus Vegas. Vegas won 2-0. It was scoreless going into the third, and then Vegas scored, and then late Dallas tried to pull their goalie, and Mark Stone finished them off. So they're going back to Dallas tomorrow, I believe. Yep, tomorrow. So Colorado will be waiting on either Dallas or Vegas. Truthfully, I think it'll be Vegas. Vegas again with the playoff experience that they've had, winning the Stanley Cup last year. I really think that'll be Vegas moving on to play Colorado. And then on the other side of the Western Conference, we have Vancouver and Edmonton. Kind of like I said, I figured that Vancouver would beat Nashville, and I kind of thought Edmonton would beat LA. I did not think LA would lose in 5 games, but they did. Yeah, so you can drop your thoughts down in the comment section what you think will happen in Game 7. We have another Game 7 tonight, Boston versus Toronto. Kind of like a lot of people were thinking, or I was at least thinking, that this series would go 7. It normally does. It has in the recent years past that they've played in the playoffs. It always goes Game 7. Boston normally takes it in Game 7. For some reason, I know they'll be in Boston, and Boston's got home ice, and Boston is built for the playoffs. They're built for Game 7s like this. I really think Toronto's going to take this one. Probably very wrong. It's probably going to be a blowout. Sorry, Toronto fans, but I'd like to see Toronto move on. That's just my thoughts. You can drop your thoughts down in the comments what you think is going to happen. Moving on the other side, we have New York and Carolina. Both teams pretty much took care of business there. Carolina always gets to this point, the semifinals, and then they kind of just forget how to play hockey. But I feel like they're gonna get past the Rangers, and they will be in the Eastern Conference Final. And then Florida, they took care of business, 4-1 over Tampa. They're waiting on either Boston and Toronto. If Boston does win, they're definitely going to want their redemption from last season, losing Game 7 the first round to Florida. Florida went all the way to the Stanley Cup Final, but if they meet Boston, I think it's going to be a whole lot different story this season. You can drop your thoughts down there. Either way, I think Carolina is going to be in it. And then if Boston gets past Toronto, they're going to beat Florida, and then they will advance to the Stanley Cup Final. Going back over to the West, I think Vegas will be playing Colorado. I think Colorado is going to beat Vegas. And then I see Vancouver beating Edmonton. I think Vancouver is just a much better team, much better coach team. So it'd be Vegas versus Vancouver, right? Yeah, Vegas versus Vancouver. And then Vancouver playing Boston in the Stanley Cup Final. Drop your thoughts down in the comments what you think would happen. That 2011, I believe, rematch of the Stanley Cup Final when Vancouver rioted and destroyed the whole entire city of Vancouver when they lost. Maybe they can get their redemption there from that. But those are just my thoughts on the playoffs. I will be watching NBA and NHL. Definitely be watching the Boston-Toronto game tonight. Pretty excited for that one. It's always fun when series goes to 7. Yeah, it's just a quick recap of what's going on in the playoffs. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.